So, this is the piece that is going to get the New York Liberty Satu Sably. So, at the end of the day, when it comes to Satu, she pretty much has a choice of where she goes. But if a team just makes a ridiculously dumb offer, they don't have to accept, and they probably won't accept. As we've seen with Elena Deladon, if she only wants to go to, say, 2 places, and those 2 places are refusing to trade for her or give them anything of note, they will just hold the player hostage. And there's a non-0% chance that will happen to Satu, for example, if she only gave one team. So the reality is, when it comes to players being cored, yes, they have decision on where they go, but realistically, it's more of like we'll work with you and send you somewhere you want to go. Not if you give us one team and one team only, we're going to accept every single trade. So I do think that when it comes to from what we've read from the likes of Annie Constable, the only teams really in with a chance of getting Satu Sably are the Fever or the Liberty. And there is word about potentially the Sparks, because Kurt Miller really likes the Erica Hamby and the Wings aren't trying to tank. But for me, there is one player that separates the 2 deals between the Liberty's deal and the Fever's deal. Because both, the Fever have the 8th pick, the Liberty have the 7th pick, and that's Maureen Johannes. So Maureen Johannes here, they bring back intriguing guard. So obviously they've given Jalen Sherrod a training camp spot, and it says here they cored Breanna Steward while also offering free agent or qualifying offers to these restricted free agents. But Maureen Johannes is the most important one. Now, if you guys don't understand, Maureen Johannes is like, she's almost a Rike. And you might be saying like, oh, why would they get Maureen Johannes if you can get when you already have a Rike? The reality when it comes to Maureen Johannes is that she is worth something to teams. Like she's genuinely worth something to teams, because she is like one of the like most crafty players in the world. Like, sure, this is what she's pulling out playing for the national team. Look what she did to Fibich. Off her knee, one leg, bang. Like, she is the most crafty scorer there is, and she's, even when she played in the WNBA, like to say that Maureen Johannes wasn't an elite bench player for the Liberty, it's just obviously during an Olympic year. And again, a problem is with Maureen Johannes is you lose her for 6 weeks during the season, but she wants to come back to the W. For if you are Dallas, like if you take Nalissa Smith, you have to, you're not getting anything for Nalissa Smith. You're not getting an asset unless you are dead set on Nalissa Smith starting power forward for you. You're not really getting an asset for Nalissa Smith. And obviously, the picks are going to be the main thing. And look, 8th pick makes no major difference, unless, of course, and to be fair to Dallas, instead of taking Nalissa Smith, getting his 7th pick allows them to steal Anissa Morrow potentially from where the Fever would hopefully want her. But it allows them to get Anissa Morrow, who is the real like power forward they should be going for. Or if they're in a rebuild, maybe you go for a Janiyah Barker then. But what Johannes allows you to do is, she's probably on a decent deal because she's just coming over and it's going to be a 1-year deal. She's missing 3 weeks in the middle of the season to go play in Eurobasket, so she's probably on not that much of a deal. And there are power forwards in the W that you will be good power forwards you'll be able to trade for Maureen Johannes. Or you'll be able to get maybe a pick for Maureen Johannes. There are teams that are going to be interested enough in bringing her in that they might give, maybe not a 1st round pick, but they might give like an asset and a 2nd. Something along those lines. So she is the better player of her versus Nalissa Smith. And the 7th pick is better than the 8th pick. Especially when you are looking for a power forward and it seems like Anissa Morrow is going to be available at 7-8. Rather than taking Nalissa Smith and getting someone you don't need, you can suddenly add in Anissa Morrow to a team that ends up being a real good young team in Rika is not that young, but like Paige Beckers, Morrow does all the dirty work. Like you've got her as a defender to kind of almost make up for. Basically, you've got Anissa Morrow to eventually become probably what Natasha Howard was in the WNBA. Like she's got that type of potential. And then obviously at the 3, you've got Maddie Seegers or JC Sheldon. But the reality is that The only way the Fever are going to get Satu is if they blow New York's deal out of the water. If they blow New York's deal out of the water, then obviously the Wings are just going to say, no, we're taking this deal. But that would take the Fever giving up Grace Berger, Nalissa Smith, the 8th pick, and either multiple seconds or another first round pick. And that's too much to give up for a player that's injury prone and could be a 1-year rental. And if she's so dead set on going to the Liberty, and she's only okay to play with the Fever for a year, you have potentially given up so much for a rental in a year where you're probably not going to win a championship. Even with Satu. Like, the Fever are going to compete with her, but you're probably not going to win. And when it comes to the Liberty just have the better assets. The Liberty have the exact same picks that they can give. Heck, the Liberty, you can argue in certain situations, have better draft capital because 7 greater than 8. And then they've got the better player to add in rather than Alyssa Smith. And if you're the Fever, I don't think, there's no way the Fever didn't protected Grace Berger if they weren't planning on keeping her. And I think Grace Berger is almost as good an asset as Johannes, but I really don't want the Fever to give up Grace Berger. But so that's my theory. My theory is Satou Sabally is going to be a member of the New York Liberty because they have the better trade. I don't think, by the way, Maureen Johannes plays one single game for the Wings because she's too similar to Arike. There's no point having Arike off the bench when you have Arike starting. But I think there's going to be either a 3-team trade or she's going to get rerouted somewhere before the season. I still see Maureen Johannes playing for the Golden State Valkyries. That's been my theory all along. There are links with her to the Valkyries. She wants to come over to the WNBA. And if you can't get a Kelsey Plum if you're the Valkyries, Maureen Johannes is going to be the player that gets butts and seats. Maureen Johannes is going to be a better player than whoever you get at 5. She's going to put up 18 a game. She's going to put up the most fun 18 a game you'll ever see. She is French Arike. And Arike is better. I do want to say that. Arike is better. But she's French Arike. And then you've got Julie Vanloo as well. And you've got I think the two of them are going to be the players that you just see start taking over games with mad stuff. Because Julie Vanloo, if you watch her play for Belgium when she plays off the ball, and when Julie Alleman's playing, it's a huge thing. How just crazy shots she takes. She goes from pass first point guard in the W to Belgian Arike. But this is, it confirms the package is better the Liberty have, or at least it's close enough that the Fever can't blow it out of the water. So unless Satou Sabally literally says, I want to play for the Fever and only the Fever, I think there's nearly no chance of her going to Indiana. And I think she'll be there in New York, especially with the fact that Maureen Johannes is there. So anyway, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.